Hello, how are you? Great, glad to hear. So, it is getting towards the end of the year, and it is time for a countdown of the top 20 albums of the year. Well, my top 20 albums of the year. So this is always a matter of opinion. I can't claim to be a professional music journalist, mainly because I'm 100% not. But I'm going to try and temper it and not be a complete kind of fanboy over the stuff that I say. I try and give you an honest point of view, and I try and look for things to like in bands that I like. I don't think that's an uncommon thing. But at the same time, there's a level of objectivity that I'm trying to bring to this, which I hope you'll appreciate, and you won't just think it's just some kind of weird stalker guy on YouTube going, "Oh, I love this band so much. Oh, please sign my boobs," or whatever. You can sign my boobs if you want, though. Anyway, so this year really has been absolutely outrageous. And I know I said it last year, and some of you may think, oh, this guy's full of hyperbole. He's overzealous, he's over anxious, and he needs to just calm down. Surely everything can't be that great. Well, maybe I was a little overzealous last year, but I'm a pretty passionate guy. But I'm going to try and be a little bit more straight down the line this year. But I don't think I'm exaggerating in any way to say this has been an outstanding year for rock and metal. This is why I'm doing a top 20 instead of a top 10 last year. Not that you care. But even doing a top 20 was a real difficult experience for me. Yeah, it's so difficult, you know, to the equivalent of, you know, starving children in Africa and that kind of things. I think we're pretty much on the same level in terms of having difficult lives. Okay, seriously though, it was very difficult to compile just 20. I've left about at least 10 albums out that could stroll into my top 5 of last year. Some of the albums I've left out of the top 20 could probably be potentially album of the year if you catch me on the right day last year. But this isn't last year, this is 2016, and the standards and the bar has been raised. There's a lot of big bands that may be trying to get by on their reputation, and that has not worked out this year as far as I'm concerned. Dream Theater, your album, yeah, you might be a big name, but you know what? Your album was too long and too boring, so you don't get anywhere near this list. You're not even in the top 50 as far as I'm concerned. I'm sure you really care. Killswitch Engage, you're one of my favourite bands ever. You're one of my favourite live bands ever. You produce some of my favourite albums, favourite songs ever. You are the anthemic voice of a generation of metal fans. Your album wasn't good enough. Jesse, your vocals were amazing on the album. The songwriting was subpar for the lofty standards that this band has set. Anthrax, I know people are saying For All Kings is a good album. It's not. It's plodding, boring crap. And why do I have to listen to Joey Belladonna in 2016? Don't know. And Green Day. Green Day. You are like worse than Coldplay and U2. You have just turned into a bloated, boring dross. You are so far away from punk, you might as well be Rick Wakeman. So Green Day, another one of the big names that just does not cut it because the bar is high in 2016. Now, I don't care if Kerrang gave you fucking 5Ks. I don't care if you're featuring at the top end of many magazines' lists, because we all know that your record label is one of the most powerful in the world. And if somebody slags you off, there's a chance that they're not going to get that advertising money. They're not going to get those interviews. They're not going to be able to sustain their publication. Good. We know how it all works. Brilliant. Let me give you a quick rundown of bands and albums that did not make my top 20. For some reasons, so it doesn't mean they're any kind of less than what's in there. It could mean that I haven't had enough time with them. It could just mean that I kind of relate to one type of music a little bit better, but it's all a matter of personal opinion. But the ones I'm going to mention right now are well worth your time if you're into that sort of thing. So Amon Amarth, Jomsviking, brilliant Viking metal album, and I love a bit of Viking metal. A Day to Remember, their new album, can't remember what it's called off the top of my head, but good album, yeah. Great mix of pop punk, hardcore, and a really good mainstream rock band, and a future festival headliner, I hope, because they write great, massive choruses. Big songs. Blink-182. Yeah, I know a lot of people hate Blink-182 or whatever. The album California, great. Matt Skiba on the lead vocals. Great choice. You know, one of the key things that put me off Blink-182, Tom DeLonge. So there you go. Leonard Cohen, You Want It Darker. Final album, just before he sadly passed away, merely days after releasing the album. And, you know, a career highlight. and you know, one of those kind of late career masterpieces that we're being treated to of late, and usually sadly followed by someone's death. Speaking of late career masterpieces, Iggy Pop, Post Pop Depression, I reviewed it on this very channel and I said it was a fucking great album, and I am fucking correct on that. Testament, Brotherhood of the Snake, great thrash album, really in the top end of Testament albums in terms of the standard of work. Better than the last one, not as good as the one before, not as good as The Gathering, but certainly within touching distance of The Gathering and the one and Formation of Damnation. Avenged Sevenfold, The Stage, a massive, sprawling, progressive metal album about artificial intelligence, surprise released, came out of nowhere. I don't even like Avenged Sevenfold, and I think it's a fucking incredible album. And, you know, Catch Me on Another Day, that makes it into the top 20. Into Armour, Paradise Gallows, amazing kind of, do you want to call it post-rock? Do you want to call it death metal, sludge, doom, extreme, southern rock? Just an incredible band, and a really challenging listen, one that's very rewarding. Megadeth, Dystopia. Unlike Anthrax, Megadeth, you know, have produced a worthy album to the Megadeth name, and yeah, it just inches away from missing out. A few little bits of filler here and there held it back, but the best songs on there are, you know, up to the standard we'd expect of a band of such lofty heights. Delain, Moonbathers, Last Shadow Puppets, great album. David Bowie, Black Star, nearly made it in. Probably need to spend a bit more time with it. I think the pain of losing David Bowie has meant I haven't really listened to it that much. But, you know, great album. And then Vader, Empire. Vader are just fucking great, aren't they? That's all I've got to say on that. So, without further ado, we're going to get right into the top 20. At number 20, The Black Queen, A Fever Daydream, an amazing synthwave electronic album fronted by Greg Puciato of the Dillinger Escape Plan. You already saw me do it in a video before, and really kind of interesting, dark, cold album, but with some beautiful, bright pop melodies. All the best bits of the 80s and all the cool bits of this kind of icy, dancey, synthy scene, but with an accessible rock face to it because of the association of my boy Greg. Number 19, Biffy Clyro with Ellipsis, a massive arena rock album that still has that ragged edge, almost like, you know, kind of Nevermind, where it's massive songs but with a kind of jangly, jagged, awkward edge of a punk rock band, but except with an absolutely massive production. So this album with songs like Wolves of Winter and Friends and Enemies, you can't go wrong with massive choruses and really interesting rhythmic parts. Simon Neil sounds better than ever. These songs sound amazing in a live environment. You know, if you've seen the footage from Reading Festival, these guys, they kill it, and these songs slot perfectly into that set. Okay, at number 18, going back to Greg Puciato, it's the Dillinger Escape Plan with Dissociation. Of course, the pioneering, amazing math rock, hardcore, metal, punk, synth, whatever you want to call them, bands. True innovators, true pioneers. One of the most important bands of the last 20 years released their final album. Like all Dillinger Escape Plan albums, it's complex and it's challenging, and you know, maybe in a couple of months' time I'll be saying this is a lot higher up in the list. But like I say, it's just a very, very strong list, and that's no slight on the album. And what an incredible end to an incredible career, to release one of the strongest albums of your career, and just to wind it down from there, having never done anything below amazing. It deserves to be commended, and you know, they remain one of the greatest the greatest live band in the world, probably. So yeah, big thumbs up for that one. At number 17 is Deftones with Gore. So again, more slow burning Deftones album in a lot of ways, but a fantastic, rewarding listen nonetheless. So this one, although it's not got as much of a hard kind of metal edge as some of their previous work, particularly the last couple of albums, it still has that that je ne sais quoi that you associate with Deftones. That thing that's so hard to put your finger on, that unique sound. And you know, there are some absolutely crushing songs on there as well. And there's one of the best songs I've ever done in Phantom Bride, which has an incredible guitar solo by Jerry Cantrell of Alice in Chains fame on there. So, yeah, Deftones Gore is an absolute slammer. There's a video on here where I review it if you want to check it out. One album I've not reviewed is Opeth with Sorceress. So Opeth, well, I've had a real kind of mixed feelings with Opeth over the last few years, as most have, and you don't want to be one of those arsey twats that just goes, play the old stuff, oh, it's not metal anymore, why aren't you doing death metal? Because if they don't want to do it, then it comes across as a bit disingenuous. So, a little bit of a background on my experience with Opeth. Heritage, the first album when they completely shed all the death metal side of what they do, I thought it was really good. I did enjoy it. I didn't think it was up to the standard of the previous album, Watershed. Certainly not up to the standard of Ghost Reveries. But I don't know if that necessarily has anything to do with the fact that it wasn't metal. I just think the songs were stronger on those previous albums. But nonetheless, I thought it was a really strong album and had a lot of interesting, intricate moments. And there was still enough of a hard edge on that to keep you going. The album after that, Pale Communion, I thought was the worst Opeth album they've ever done. I thought it was really boring. I thought it was really kind of ploddy. It had some okay moments in there. But even those kind of okay, enjoyable moments had been done better 35 years ago by the bands that Opeth were ripping off. So really not a fan of Pale Communion. This album is much, much better. And it's actually better than Heritage as well. It's got more of a rock feel to it, just generally speaking. Not that that's, you know, the be-all and end-all of being a good band and releasing a good album. But it's a really welcome return to form. Not on the level of Watershed and Ghost Reveries, and certainly nowhere near, you know, Blackwater Park and Deliverance and Damnation. But a step in the right direction in a lot of ways. And just wonderful organic production. It sounds absolutely fantastic. The songs sound so much bigger. Mikael Lagerfeld's vocals are a lot stronger on here. The guitar work of Frederick Ackerson is some of the best he's done since he's been in the band. You know, flashy in places, but serene and David Gilmour-like in others. And, you know, just generally a really, really strong entry to the Opeth back catalogue. So, you know, I'm really kind of pleased that they were able to get it together. So that is my my number 20 all the way to 16. Join me again, and I'll be counting down from number 15 to however long it takes me to get through that shit. So stick around, guys. You're not going to want to miss this. You probably are going to want to miss this. Okay, I will return.